Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here. Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are all doing well. Welcome to another episode of Snowflake's Viewpoint, episode 69. The date and time is the 2nd of February 2024 at 8 p.m. UK time, where we cover some of the latest news taking place in the UK. We are dual streaming live on youtube.com/Reganelite and on twitch.tv/Reganelite1. Yes, I did manage to get that fixed, and Mad Monk 33 pointed out. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. How are you guys all doing? I hope you guys are all doing well. Before we get started, I'm gonna just I just wanted to cover a couple of things before we go straight into it. As well, first and foremost, guys, the gang is here. I need to say hello to the gang, and Ollie is happy. He's already instantly happy. He's happy because we have a live stream, and that my voice is back, and you can tell by my voice is a lot better. Some of you guys may have seen my videos today. They weren't that great because they were recorded on Friday. My videos tomorrow and Wednesday should be a lot better, just for reference, guys. So it should be a lot better, the videos, over the next few days. If my voice was not 100%, hopefully it'll be a lot better then. Let's just see who we got here in the chat at the moment. Jow is here. Good evening, everyone. And Reganelite and anyone lurking, he says. Yes, anyone lurking. Hello, hello, hello. Don't be shy. You're more than welcome to say hello. You don't have to say anything if you don't want to. Stephen Banker is here as well. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Mad Monk 33, as I said earlier. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you guys all. Hope you guys are all doing well. So just a quick caveat. So what happened, Regan? So last week, I obviously, for those who don't know, I planned to take some time off, spend some time with my partner, go and do some stuff. We had actually plans in place to go somewhere. Luckily, it wasn't a holiday abroad or anything. Otherwise, it would have been in a lot worse. So I would tell you that. But after the last weekend, not last weekend, the weekend before, I come off the back of going to many wrestling events. Understandably, hurt my voice quite a bit, and I developed a throat infection. My plan was to schedule I was going to do a live stream last week, Monday, for you guys, and record some content. Not a lot. It wasn't going to be the same level as that you normally get on the channel, but I would record something at least every day here on the channel for you guys, so that at least you'd have something. Understandably, my voice was so buggered I couldn't even record, couldn't do any live streams. I was just gone. And essentially, my week was pretty crap because I couldn't do anything. I was in a really bad state throughout most of the week. Any content that dropped during the week or on the weekend was content that was recorded the week prior. I didn't do any recording at all last week, apart from Friday for today. That was it. And of course, today I did record. So while my voice is a lot better, as you can tell, I'm still not 100%. Don't be surprised if I do the odd coughing and little things or whatever here and there. I've even done a few of that still. I am trying to get off the meds. So today I don't think I've taken anything, maybe apart from some Locket sweets, and that's about it. So I'm trying to get off it, just for reference as well, guys. But we'll see how the live stream goes here today. Bear in mind, I have recorded 6 videos and 8 short videos today. So I have given myself a pretty big gap between this live stream and the time that I've recorded. So we'll see how it goes. I've got 7 articles for you guys. I don't know if I'll cover all 7 or just see how things goes, but we have a lot to cover. There is no live stream tomorrow, and I am going to do Prime Minister's questions this Wednesday as well. Even if my voice is not 100% or whatever, I don't need to say too much because it'll be pretty much a watch along for Prime Minister's questions. So if you guys want to join me for Prime Minister's questions on Wednesday, feel free to do so, because that will be when the next live stream will be as well. And I'll let you guys know the rest of the week as well. So with all that out the way, let's dive straight into the first story, guys. So this story kind of broke today in the House of Commons by David Lammy, who made the announcement. So the UK is suspending 30 arms export licenses to Israel after review. Well, let me make sure I got my chat up there as well. Yes. So this is quite big. The Foreign Office said the review found a clear risk that UK's arms may be used in violation of humanitarian law. Now, this is not a complete. I didn't watch the full speech, but I did see the video from David. I did see a part of the speech that David Lammy made in the House of Commons. To be clear, this is not a full stop of arms exports to Israel. This is not a complete full stop. Some people might think of it is, but it's not a complete full stop. It's suspending 30 armed exports. This is not a complete full stop of supplies of arms to Israel. And I want to make that very, very clear. Yes, this is a step in the right direction, but we are still incomplicit with what's happening in the Middle East, because we are still exporting some licenses to Israel. This is not a complete stop, but it's close to what we want, but it's not enough of what we want, is what I will say. And while I completely understand where David Lammy is coming from, I just think they're trying to be as political as they possibly can. They're trying to appease Israel to a certain extent, while also trying to appease America as well. Because there was some Trump representatives that have said that they would be held to pay to the US, to the UK, if Trump gets in, and that they're continually not supporting Israel. I think that's a bit of a dangerous line coming from the Trump administration. Number 3, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Just a reminder, people. Just remind people in the chat. Obviously, I'm still not 100%, so if I do get cough and all that kind of stuff, just remind people as well. But this is a good step. Let's give credit where credit is due. This is a good step from the Foreign Office, from the government. But we want them to go further. We want them to say, no, we're not going to send you guys anything until you get a ceasefire, a permanent ceasefire. This is what they should be saying. While I'm happy that they are stopping arms exports, it's not the level that I want, and I'm sure it's not the level that some of you guys want as well. But it is a good step in the right direction anyway. So let's read into it. So the UK has moved to immediately suspend 30 armed export licenses to Israel after a review by the new Labour government found a clear risk that the UK arms may be used in serious violation of humanitarian law relating to the treatment of Palestinian detainees and the supply of aid to Gaza. The suspension will cover components for military aircraft, including fighter aircraft, helicopters and drones. Now, I do wonder, does this include anything that they may send to the US that the US could make to Israel? I'm not sure about that. The Foreign Office said that the 2-month review had raised concerns about the way Israel has conducted itself in the conflict in Gaza. No definitive conclusion has been reached as to whether UK's arms export licenses can contribute to the destruction in the territory, but the scale of destruction and number of civilian deaths caused great concerns, the Foreign Office said. We know we have seen American weapons being used inside Gaza. We know there has been. We have seen footage of it. It's very clear that there's been there. I haven't, as far as I'm aware from footage that I have seen whenever I've covered Gaza, guys, I have not seen clear evidence of British-made weapons or arms being used inside Gaza. Some people may correct me and say that they have. That's perfectly right, but I have not personally seen that. But it is entirely possible that there may have been. I still think we're complicit in the act, regardless, because of how much support we have given Israel, regardless. The suspensions represent 1/10 of the 350 extract licenses that do not include parts of the F-35 Joint Fighter Strike program, unless the UK supply is specific to jet planes for use exclusively by Israel. And the move, which is coordinated between the Foreign Office, the Business Department and the Attorney General, is likely to help the Foreign Secretary David Lammy overcome what may be a highly charged revolt at the Labour Party annual conference. Yeah, he's going to get a lot of stick, from the Labour Friends of Israel groups. Those pro-Israeli groups are going to be really hard on him. They're going to be really pressuring him quite hard. But it will lead to strains with the Joe Biden administration with the US, which as repeatedly says sees no basis in international humanitarian law to suspend armed exports. Yeah, because they don't see the it doesn't matter that Palestinian prisoners are blatantly being raped inside Israeli prisons. It doesn't matter that children's schools are being blown up by those weapons. None of that's relevant to them. They're turning a blind eye. They're just going la 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 la, like completely blind to all that stuff. America, as far as they're concerned, that had been on their soil with their people, would be a very different story. The UK government is also facing a growing range of domestic court challenges, including proceedings due to start on Tuesday. Officials were reluctant to link the 30 suspected armed export licenses to specific breaches of international humanitarian law. Pointed out that the government has been so far fruitless in negotiations with the Israeli government to gain access to Palestinian detainees, either through the British judicial figures or the International Committee of the Red Cross. Hi, Ginny Bowl. Good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Ministers were eager to emphasise that the suspension did not represent a step away from the UK government's commitment to Israel's security and pointed out that such suspensions had occurred in previous Israeli conflicts. Suspension decisions were endorsed by Margaret Thatcher in 1982, Gordon Brown in 2009 under the coalition government in 2014. Arms exports licenses were also suspended in Egypt in 2013 and Russia in 2014. Yeah, that was a big one in 2009. Remember that one. Good to see you, Simon says 55 there as well. Officials said that Lamy and his aide have been given no access to the decision-making process on arms sales made by the previous Conservative government, but Labour ministers have reached a different decision on the basis of similar evidence. The Conservatives conducted 4 reviews of the evidence of Israel's compliance with international humanitarian law, but never published the conclusions or explanations. Lamy, by contrast, published an explanation of his illegal reasoning. And it just says there more detail soon. So yeah, there'll be obviously be more, probably a bit more information over as time comes on. But yeah, this is a very important point here because under the Conservatives, there was obviously 1 or 2. I'm pretty sure there was 1 or 2 exclusives that's basically said people were screaming that the information there, the facts were there in front of the Conservative government, the previous administration. They were being told that, hey, we could be complicit here in genocide, and they just completely oblivious to it. But David Lammy's actually looked at this and said, okay, maybe I should do something. And they have done something here. They have suspended 30 armed exports licenses to Israel. Like I said, step in the right direction, but it's not what we want, but it is a step in the right direction. So they have to give, like I said, give a bit of credit where credit is due, but it's not enough. We want to say no to Israel. That listen, like we know we're friends and buddies with you, but what you guys are doing is wrong, and we need you guys to stop it. We can't just keep carrying on like this, and it's hurting us. And I think if there wasn't so much from an outrage from a public's perspective, not just here in the UK, but on the global perspective, from the Western perspective, I'm pretty sure that's playing a factor into it too. And they know, and it hurt them at the general election as well. The whole situation in the Middle East has hurt them in the general election. We can see that because Labour MPs lost seats to independents, pro-Gaza candidates as well. So that definitely played a part in this as well. Speaking of independent candidates, it's a nice segue actually into our next one, guys. Sticking with The Guardian as well. This one here from them on Jeremy Corbyn. So Corbyn is to form an alliance with 4 independent pro-Gazan MPs. The groups call for more MPs to join and vows to campaign on issues such as austerity and the 2-child benefit cap. So, obviously, sticking with the obviously as we sticking with the Gaza situation a little bit here. Obviously, one of the things Jeremy Corbyn is very much an advocate of stopping with the war there. He's always been on that position throughout the whole time, and this position, obviously, the 4 independent pro-Gaza MPs, obviously looking to form an alliance with them of some sorts, try and give them some kind of power edge. There will be a poll dropping tomorrow on the channel, guys. I'd like to get your feedbacks on whether you actually think this will make a difference to Jeremy Corbyn's position of power. Will this give these independent pro MPs any kind of leverage? I doubt that very, very much. But I think obviously there is that saying, of course, that there is strength in numbers. But at the same time, is this strength in numbers really going to make much of an impact? We don't expect reform, the Greens and these independents to really have too much of an impact on things within government, within the Houses of Commons, within too many committee hearings. I'd like to think they will be. We know they're mainly dominated by the Conservatives, by Labour, and by the Lib Dems now because the Lib Dems have a lot of MPs. But as you expect, obviously, a couple of SMPs to get on some committees. Are we expecting reform and Greens to get on many? I'd like to think so, but we'll have to wait and see, obviously. But obviously, austerity and 2-child benefit cap. I've covered the 2-child benefit cap in another video, but I will say this, obviously. You know, if there is not something done about child poverty, especially on this in the October budget, obviously there's going to be absolutely a hell of a lot of anger, including from me. I'm already not happy with some of the decisions that Labour have made. While at the same time, I'm also kind of just waiting patiently to see what they do. I'm kind of just holding back on Labour by seeing really what the budget's going to impose, because that's really what's going to speak a lot of volumes about this Labour government. You know, a lot of rhetoric going around, guys, but that will say a lot of things. You know, people are calling Labour imposing austerity. We will find out. I'm not going to call it austerity because we don't know that right now. It may be austerity that they may impose. But definitely some people have said the tones and the language that Rachel Reeves has been giving is some of the same vibes that George Osborne was giving back in 2010. And I totally see those similarities, and I totally understand how people feel like that. It's totally understandable to feel like that. But yeah, this austerity, you know, you can call it austerity, you can call it whatever you want, but if people's lives have not improved, we're definitely nothing really is got. People will turn their votes away from Labour. That is for sure. They know the clock is ticking on them. They're not guaranteed They're not guaranteed the seats that they've got. That is for sure. Jal says anyone selling weapons to any of the sides is a war criminal. Yeah, they need to just switch off the taps. Just switch off the taps. Switch off all the exports and say, look, we can't support you in this situation. We just can't. Like, we want to support you, Israel, but what you guys are doing over there needs to stop. That's it. Like, we want to help you. We want to defeat Hamas. We want to get the hostages out. But we can't sit here and support you while you're bombing schools. You know, while you're raping innocent Palestinians in prisons as well. You know, it's just blatant, like, the destruction. You can't hide the destruction. Can't hide what they're doing. Just can't. It's just really, really can't. So Jeremy Corbyn's to form an official parliamentary alliance with 4 independent MPs who were elected on pro-Gaza platforms, issuing a call for more MPs to join. The group will have the same number of MPs as Reform UK and the Democratic Unionist Party, who have 5 MPs, and more from the Green Party and Plaid Cymru on 4. Promising to fight austerity and campaign on issues including the winter fuel allowance, the two-child benefit limit, and the arms sales to Israel. The group also explicitly invites MPs to join them, a reference to the 7 rebel Labour MPs suspended by the party for voting to axe the two-child benefit cap. I don't think they're going to... I don't expect those who were cast out for not going with the government on the two-child benefit cap, I don't expect them to join. I do hope at some point, I think they're going to be sitting out for like 6 months, I think it is. 6 months or so before they'd be allowed back into the party, I believe. I don't think they would. I don't think there's any benefit of them siding with Corbyn anyway. There's just no point. Corbyn, a former Labour leader, was elected as an independent MP for Islington North after being barred from standing as a Labour candidate at the last election. The group also include the MP Shokarak Adam, Anoop Khan, Aidan Hassan, and Imran Mohammed. The MP said, "We are elected by our constituents to provide hope in a parliament of despair. Already, this government has scrapped the winter fuel allowance for around 10 million pensioners, voted to keep the two-child benefit cap, and ignore calls to end arms sales to Israel. Millions are crying out for a real alternative to austerity, inequality and war, and their voices deserve to be heard. And as individuals, we were voted by constituents to represent their concerns in Parliament on these matters and more, and we believe that as a collective group, we can carry on doing this with greater effect. The more MPs who are prepared to stand up to these principles, the better. The door is always opened up for MPs who believe in more equal and peaceful world." Why would they want to? Like, it's... like, they're not going to go against their own political parties, the rest of the packs. They're just not. The Independent Alliance will not be a political party, but the grouping said it had a form so that the 5 MPs were allocated more parliamentary time to ask more questions and speak in debates, operating in effect as a political party without a leader. However, there is not yet a formal agreement in place to enable this to happen. A spokesperson for the Commons Speaker, Lindsay Hoyle, said in a letter he had been received but declined to say whether he would have any bearing on parliamentary time allocated. It is understood that the new alliance is not expected to receive short money, which is the funding opposition parties can receive for parliamentary work. And in a joint statement, the 5 MPs said they expected Hoyle would give them a similar number of speaking slots as other parties such as Nigel Farage's Reform, including being able to add it to the rota for PMQs. The 5 MPs have already begun working as a parliamentary group before the summer recess, including signing a number of joint letters to the government and issuing joint statements. The MPs who were suspended are all close allies to the former Labour leader, including the former Shadow Chancellor John McDonnell and other former members of the Shadow Cabinet, including Richard Bergen and Rebecca Long-Bailey. Their suspensions are intended to run for 6 months. Yeah, I still don't think it would be in their interest if they want to still be in the Labour Party within. I still don't think it's in their interest to align in any way with this pro-independent group. I think they should just stay away from them. It'd be better for them too. Like, I know it's a long time out with the whip being gone for 6 months. But it's better for them to just kind of wait it out. I think that's the best situation for them. After the vote, the 5 independent MPs wrote a joint letter to the suspended Labour MPs praising the decision. Yeah, I remember that story. Yep. The election of the 5 independent MPs from areas with high Muslim populations set shockwaves through Labour at the general election amid deep dissatisfaction with the party's stance on the Gaza war. Yeah, which we talked about extensively here. And they have since said they do not intend only to campaign on Gaza, but on housing and poverty. The 5 MPs most recently roasted the Home Secretary Yvette Cooper about the targeting Muslim communities during the far-right riots in early August. The Conservative leadership candidate Kemi Badenoch attacked the group at her campaign launch on Monday morning, saying, "When everyone was talking about the 5 new MPs from Reform, I was far more worried about the 5 new MPs elected from the sectarian Islamic politics. Alien ideas have no place here." What? What is that? Oh my God. We're going to get to her in a moment. Oh my. What is this? Oh, it's... God. People are crazy. People are absolutely crazy. Anyway, we'll talk about her in a moment. But just before we do, obviously, I just want to say a massive thank you for the 10 New Zealand dollars from Steve McMorran. Good morning, Steve. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Welcome back, Reganelite. Thank you so much for that super chat. I really appreciate it, buddy. I hope you had a good week, and I hope you're doing well. I hope you have a great day. Great day over there, all the way over in New Zealand, my friend. Appreciate the super chat. Thank you. But just finally on this, obviously on this alliance sort of thing that's going to be going on, I don't see anyone adding to it or from any of the political parties. I don't think it would be in the best interest of, like I said, I don't think it'd be in the best interest of those who are already out there, who are already been outcast by Labour in their interest to do so. I do think that at some point, obviously, they will get back into the Labour Party, into the Labour Party. And it's better for them. I generally think it's better for them to sit and wait it out rather than risk not getting the whip back. Simply because once they're in, they can still have a say and they can still influence the government to a certain extent from the inside. They're not going to have as much influence, but they can still have an influence by being in the party rather than sitting in the opposition or sitting as independents. I think we can all agree with that. Jeannie Bottle says, I foresee for Farage renaming to Reform 2025, then later 2026, and form a new company each year. Some dodgy deal contract. So yeah, it sounds like some kind of tax dodging that he may do. He might do some things, but the government could also close certain loopholes for them if he tries some kind of tax dodging sort of schemes as well. It's entirely possible as well. But thanks for that comment. I appreciate that. Just see anything else here. Jao says, fighting terrorism with more terrorism only breeds one thing, terrorism. Yep, that's pretty much true. He also says, the more time I live, the more I see a lack of logic and emotional answers only create more problems than crises. And when there are no crises, people create them and then complain about the crises, says Jao. Yeah, that does seem to be the case. It definitely seem to be the case there. Right, speaking of Kemi Badenoch, I'm going to read this headline and then I'll come to what I've just seen in the chat in just a moment. Let me just make sure this is this the right one? Yeah. No, wait. Hold on a second. Hold on 1 second, guys. I thought I sorted this out, but I clearly did not sort this out. There we go. Yeah, this headline was Sky News. I'm sorry. Conservative leadership race. So Kemi Badenoch says Tories talk right, but govern left. And James Cleverly vows to resurrect the Rwanda scheme. Number 3, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships. It's very welcome indeed, considering how low the membership has dropped over the last several weeks. I greatly appreciate the 5 gifted memberships. Gifted 5 memberships to Stu Viking President, Mithril there, Wim, One Angry Pagan, and Gary Arnold. Thank you so much for those 5 gifted memberships. Really appreciate that. It's very kind of you. Mithril is a lovely guy. He's one of the top moderators for Helena No Justice. Really top guy he is as well. Definitely check out No Justice whenever you guys get a chance. She was live streaming earlier today as well. Bertie, good to see you there as well. But hope you're doing well. Thank you for your support, number 3. I really appreciate that. It really is a big boost, yeah, considering the last couple of weeks. So that has been really helpful. Closing tax loopholes. Yeah, only tax loopholes that they want to close, Verti. Maybe not all of them. Maybe not all of them. US corporate tax laws are over 7,800 pages of loopholes. Oh God, that's a lot to close. Anyway, back here in the UK, obviously. So I'm just looking at this Rwanda scheme, and I'm just thinking, why are you trying to bring back a dead duck of sorts? I've got to use the term dead duck here, guys, because what is the benefit of bringing back a scheme that was deeply unpopular? It was unpopular within the party. Nobody bought into it. Not even the extreme people on the right. Even the extreme people. I don't recall many people calling into radio shows or people on the street saying that this Rwanda scheme was going to make all the immigrants go away. So why is James Cleverly saying this? I have no freaking idea. And a part of me feels like that he's literally just saying this because he doesn't have a fucking clue about politics. So he says, oh, you know what? I'm just going to revive the Rwanda scheme and hope it sticks, even though I think it's fucking useless. That's exactly the mindset that comes off when I think of James Cleverly. Like, because I've listened to some of his speeches and interviews, yeah. You know, he had one on with Global Player not too long ago, the news agents one. And he was so crap. He had no ideas. And I was just thinking, you want to be the leader, and you've got no ideas. And I was just thinking, this guy wants to... And I just feel like that he's just said this because he has no fucking idea what he wants to do as leader. Now, that's how crazy it will be. The current 6 candidates to become Conservative leader will face a vote by MPs on Wednesday, when just 4 will remain. So we're going to be cut. So by the time some of you guys may see this on repeat, obviously we're going to get cut down to 4. I would absolutely love it if James Cleverly doesn't make the cut, but somehow I think he will make the cut. I think he will make the cut. I think Kemi Badenoch will make the cut. I think Priti Patel will make the cut because she is my dark horse. And I think Robert Jenrick will make the cut. I think those 4 will make the cut. I think the other 2, Tom Tugendhat and Mel Stride, will probably fall short. That's what I think. The 2 Tory leadership hopeful frontrunners have made their pitch to members and MPs ahead of the candidates being whittled down this week. So Kemi Badenoch and James Cleverly launched their campaigns today before the first round of voting on Wednesday, when 6 candidates will become 4. Miss Badenoch took aim at the Conservative government when she was part of it. You were part of it. She took shots at it. As she said, it talked right but governed left, while presenting herself as the only person who could be brutally honest. So she's saying the Conservatives were too left-wing. The Conservatives were left-wing, apparently. Yeah, you try and figure that one out, guys. I can't figure that one out. Mr. Cleverly focused on his experience in government as Home and Foreign Secretary, and he promised to bring back the Rwanda policy and raise the defence spending to 3% of GDP. The former Business Secretary, Ms. Badenoch, the bookmaker's favourite to replace Rishi Sunak, said, a government that has tried to do everything and will end up likely achieving nothing. This was one of our mistakes, she said. We talked about right but governed left and sounded like Conservatives but acted like Labour. I don't get this. This don't make no fucking sense. As I sounded, acting like Labour, governing left. What the fuck is that? Seriously, I just don't. I just feel like she's just throwing words out there. Government should do fewer things, but what it does, it should do with brilliance. No, governments are supposed to look after its people. That's its point. Your party stopped looking after us. You stopped looking after us. You left us to fend for our bloody selves while we had to wait 14 years for Labour to figure themselves out. You guys left us. Yeah, you left people to fend for themselves. The whole point of a government is supposed to look after its people. That's the whole point of it. Otherwise, what's the point of even having you guys as elected politicians, as leaders of a political party? What's the point of having you guys if you're not even going to do the job, and that is govern the United Kingdom? What is the point of you guys? Completely against everything that the principles and values that I feel that a government is supposed to be. She says Labour are only in government because people no longer believe in the Conservatives. Bullshit. That's bullshit. People were sick. There were many reasons why people didn't vote. There were many people didn't just not vote Conservatives just because they didn't believe in Conservatives. You guys stopped listening to the British public. You just stopped helping people. There were so many crises that the UK is in. You just stopped helping people, and you just kept going on about boats, Rwanda, immigration, and people were like, "Can you do something about the NHS?" No. Can you do something about the economy? No. Can you do something about the cost of living crisis? No. Can you do something about my bills going up? No. Can you do something about the waters filling with poo? No. Like, problem after problem after problem, and you guys didn't do fucking anything about it. Absolute crazy. The British people are yearning for something better, and this Labour government is not it, she said. I agree to a certain extent with this. The British public are yearning for something better. It's definitely not you. They're already making worse mistakes than we did. I'm not buying that for a moment. Ms. Badenoch said her principles include personal responsibility, truth, the family, equality under law and citizenship. Oh yeah, have you been taking personal responsibility for some of the things that you have done when you were in government? Have you taken personal responsibility? Have you apologised for some of your comments and actions? Oh, you haven't. So you don't take personal responsibility. Oh, okay, you're just saying that. She's also a former engineer, and she knows how to get things done and can accept reality while politicians pretend we have everything. Or they make promises we cannot keep. And she's out to dispel criticism that she was only concerned with culture wars, saying that as equality minister, she had to look after very tricky issues like race and gender. It was not an issue. You just made it an issue because you wanted to make it an issue. The minimal government mantra, but the minimum is never defined, says number 3. Yeah, they want to do the bare minimum. They don't want to do anything. They just want us to vote them in, and for them to sit there and basically do nothing. That's what they want. I didn't run away, and not only I did not run away, I defended people who needed help, and I dragged Labour onto the turf, she said. That's funny. I don't remember you being there commenting on at all during the UK riots. It's almost as if you disappeared, Kemi. It's almost as if you ran away. You know, didn't say anything about that during the time, did you? Mr. Cleverly pitched to MPs and members, laying firmly on his experience as he pledged to resurrect the Rwanda scheme for illegal migrants, scrapped by Labour if he becomes Prime Minister. James Cleverly, Prime Minister. You know, I never thought Boris Johnson would become Prime Minister. The very possibility of James Cleverly becoming Prime Minister is not an impossible one, guys. It's a bonkers one, but it's not impossible. Avoiding criticising the government he helped lead, he said the Conservative Party to get back on track and people's needs to see focused on them, not just focused on ourselves. The parliamentary party needs to lead by example, he said. We must be unified, we must be disciplined, and unity is not the easy option, it's the harder option. To much applause, he announced he would commit to spending 3% on GDP on defence. You cannot penny pinch your way to peace, the former minister has said. The Shadow Home Secretary concluded, I know that our best years can be ahead of us, but only if we replace this useless Labour government. They have only... Again, this Labour government have only just been in for a small amount of time. Just a reminder of the 6 candidates there. James Cleverly, Robert Jenrick, Tom Tugendhat, Mel Stride, Kemi Badenoch and Priti Patel. And the new leader expected to be selected in November. It's going to be very fascinating to see what happens on Wednesday, obviously, when it gets down to it. Obviously, I will try to cover it on Snowflake Watch on Wednesday evening. I don't know when they actually announce it from 6 to 4. So I'll have to try and keep an eye out for when it does. Hopefully, it'll be before I live stream that night. But it will definitely be food for thought, that is for sure on that, guys. There has been a change. Has there been a change in government? It's hard to tell, says Steve. I get the premise that people haven't. It's too early. It's too early to say things right now. I get the premise. I know, especially our friends up in Scotland, obviously feel about red Tories and whatnot. I totally understand that feeling about it. I just think it's right now. We have to wait and see. You know, I get people want to, want me to throw Labour under a bus straight away. I just can't do that. I have to stick to my principles, and my principles is I have to give Labour a chance to see what they can do. See after 100 days, and I'll be a lot more vocal. I'll be a lot more vocal of them, because it's different to when Rishi Sunak took over, because we had the same political party for 14 goddamn years, and they weren't even elected in. And this Labour government has been elected in, off the back of a rigged system. I get it. I know it's not a fair electoral system we have right now, but we got to give them a chance to see what they can do. And I know how people feel about it, but we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see what the budget holds, because that really will tell a lot. If it's a slush fund, of course it doesn't make sense. Is it the score still 6 for Rwanda and 0 for the UK? Probably. Kemi is turning weirder by the minute, says Jow. What is it that Tim Walsh says over in America? These guys are weird. I'm having some robust debates with my Labour MP about protests and democracy in the context of global catastrophe. She is the establishment, says number 3. I'm assuming we're talking about Kemi there. I suppose these Tory metal masturbationists and is all that in the news, says Jow. GB News is not considered news then. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes I would consider it gossip rather than news, especially with the people they have on there. Jan also says there are some countries cooperating with the EU in exchange for money and investments, settling some immigrants in their country. The UK can do the same, but of course it has to pay for it. This is a non-problem. Stephen McMahon has said, bring back national service while you're at it. That should be popular. Yeah, James Cleverly will probably come up with that as well, because he can't really think of many ideas there, that's for sure. So just before I go to the next article, guys, just a reminder, if you haven't already, please hit the like button. It'd be greatly appreciated. Share it across social media so others are notified of this live stream. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing, because it really does help support the channel. Thanks to everyone who has done so. It is greatly appreciated. Right, so the next one here. I don't think I'm going to cover it in full, but I did want to talk a little bit about it. So the one-word Ofsted rating for the schools is to be scrapped immediately. So the change follows engagement with the education sector and the family of head teacher Ruth Perry, who took her own life after the Ofsted inspection. So the one-word Ofsted rating, obviously, I'm not an expert on this, as you guys know, but I have talked about this in the past, and I just think that this decision for to declare a school adequate or inadequate or good by one word is just not right. I think now an argument that was made, and obviously when I was listening to Politics Live with No Justice earlier, I was obviously, and the point was made up, obviously, that parents do get like a report card of some sorts, a report of the school. I think what they should have is, while they should have a report card, a full detailed one, I think they should have a short summary version. A short summary version with some bullet points of the school, of some bullet points of good and bad things. Like in a bullet point, you make it simple for parents to read, as simple as possible. Like you can have a full card, a full report card, so they can see exactly what Ofsted have rated a school. But I think if they can simplify it for some parents, because not everybody is well educated, not everyone can give their time and attention to every single detail about their school. But if you can put it into a couple of bullet points, a small card, small bullet points of these are some things that the school has done and not done, in just some bullet points, can help make a much easier, better decision. And might even make more people say, you know what, I need to see the full report before I can make a decision on whether I want my child to stay in this school. Or they can base the decision on seeing some of the bullet points in that of the school and say, you know what, I'm happy with my child here. I'm happy where I am. I don't really want the hassle. School seems fine to me. Child seems happy. Not going to change anything. I carry on, sort of thing. And as number 3 with a £2 super chat said, Kia, Karma and carry on, inspired by LBC. Kia, Karma and carry on. That says number 3 with a £2 super chat. Thank you for the £2 super chat, number 3. I really appreciate it. Yeah, let's, just on Keir Starmer, let's wait for the budget. Budget will say a lot. There's no hiding after the budget, guys, for Labour. There really is not much hiding for Labour after the budget. Now we're back from holidays. Everyone's back from holidays. They're back in the House of Parliament. Business is now going to get done. Now we're going to see what they're going to do. Yeah, we're going to start seeing proper stuff. Hopefully start seeing proper things moving now. That's what we want. We want to start seeing proper things being done. But, yeah. Parents can't raise the vertigo. How can I put this? You have to treat... So, if you are a driver... My mum always said, I'm not a driver, but my mum says, yeah, the best advice she gives to people driving is always treat other drivers like idiots. Assume that everyone is dumb. Don't assume that everyone is smart. Because some parents are just not there. Some parents are not as bright as other parents. So simplify it and make it easier for people to see the reports. That's what I mean by it. I'm not saying that parents can't read. But what I'm saying is make it easy. Easier you can, the better. Obviously, teachers will know better than myself. So obviously, any teachers who are here, please let me know down in the comments or here in the live stream. You guys will know far better on this than I will. But easier, better to understanding, simple bullet points, not just one word. Let's just change that, I think. I'll read a little bit into it. I'm not going to read the full thing. But one word, Ofsted judgment for state schools are being scrapped with immediate effect in the move that has been hailed as a landmark moment for children. So previously, the Education Watchdog awarded one of 4 marks to schools it inspects. Outstanding, good, requires improvement, and inadequate. From this academy year, 4 grades will be awarded across the existing subcategories qualified for education, behaviour and attitudes, personal development, leadership and management, the Department of Education has announced. And school report cards will be introduced from September 2025, which will provide parents with comprehensive assessment of how schools are performing and ensure inspections are more effective in driving improvement. Change follows engagement with the education sector and the family of head teacher Ruth Perry, who took her own life after an Ofsted report downgraded her Caversham Primary School in Reading from outstanding to inadequate over safeguarding concerns. Last year, a coroner's inquest found the inspection process had contributed to her death. Yeah, it's an absolutely terrible, horrible tragedy for her. She's someone who was incredibly passionate about teaching, loved what she did, loved the school, loved everything that she did, and it really deeply affected her. That simple wording of being an outstanding school to being adequate, absolutely brutal, and still to this day, it should never have happened. It should never have happened to what happened to her, But that's how deeply some teachers really care about their schools. They really, really do, guys. As Verti says in the comments, it is the life. As Verti says in those words, it is the lifeblood of any society. Education, 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 and education. Absolutely. But we have to make sure that teachers are well looked after. More needs to be done. It's not always about better pay or terms and conditions. It's about making sure that we are looking after our teachers as well as children and pupils in schools. And I think that's really, really important. And it was such a tragedy what happened to her. It really, really was, you guys. But, like I said, the article, if you want to read the rest of the article, link will be in the description, guys. But just on that final thoughts, obviously, I'm glad the one word is going to go. I'm glad that they also spoke to the family of the head teacher, Ruth Perry, as well. I thought that was a very nice touch as well, to have their thoughts in this as well. I think that was really, really important. And hopefully there will be less stress on them, on state schools. But I also wanted to remind ourselves, as was pointed out by Graham Hughes on the Morning Brew, Politics Social, private schools don't get any of this. They don't get Ofsted ratings. They don't get someone coming in checking anything for them. This is only on state schools. I think that's unfair. Don't you agree? I think it should be for across the board, really, if I'm honest. Whether it's private or not, or state, it should apply to everyone. Everyone's education matters. Why are we not treating it all the same? Genie Bottle, let me just come to the chat on here. Genie Bottle says, here is a report of the only schools in your area. You have no choice in sending your kids. Yeah. Parents need to have choices. Parents don't have enough choices. That's the problem. We all know the answer. Close all private schools, make them all go local, go home, make every school better and equal in what is teachers all pupils. I don't like private schools. I totally understand how you feel about that, Jeannie, and I would too. But considering the situation that we are in, I just can't see us doing that right now. I don't think that would ever happen here. But I totally understand. I would like a similar education system to something like Finland have got. But I just don't think people would be on board with it here in the UK. Stephen Moore says, in the time you got rid of Ofsted, Ofcom, Ofwat and all the others, they're not fit for purpose. And what, leaving them and what, replacing them and leaving them free to run riot? I mean, I get how you feel about them, Steve, but we need them. And the one thing I don't want is a free Wild Wild West like in America. I do think that they can work with the right reforms to them. I'm not prepared to give up on those if I'm honest. Estonians in government know bugger all about science. They are dangerous idiots. That's number 3. Yeah, they do appear to come across as dangerous idiots. That's for sure, guys. Speaking of dangerous people, how about some real heartless people? I've got a funny video for you guys. We'll break the ice a little bit while I recover my voice for a little bit, because I do need to recover my voice for a little bit, guys. We've got a couple more articles for you guys. This one here, I've only listened to this once. It's the headline is Homes Under the Heartless Landlords. I hope you guys enjoy this, but it's just emphasised just how mad some of our landlords are. And it would not surprise me one bit if landlords are like this as well. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this one.
So, Eric, you won this flat in the auction. Congratulations. What are your plans for the property?
Well, I'm going to do a little renovating and then I'll just rent it out.
Well, it's going to need more than a little renovating. I mean, for anyone to live here, this whole property is going to have a major overhaul, don't you think? So, what exactly are you going to do?
Well, the dining room needs a new carpet.
And what else?
Well, that's it for now.
That's it? What about the kitchen?
What about it?
Well, it's empty. Apart from a single cupboard and a plastic washing bowl.
I'm putting students in there. So, you know, they're not expecting Kensington Palace, are they?
What are they going to do for food?
Well, at my own expense, I've put 12 packets of super noodles in the cupboard.
How are they going to cook super noodles without a hob?
You don't have to cook super noodles. You can just smash them with a hammer and eat them like crisps.
And what about the bathroom?
What? The bathroom has a bath.
Yes, but there's a bomb in the bath.
It's an unexploded World War II bomb. I've been told it's perfectly safe.
What is it doing there?
It's something to do with the previous owner. Apparently he stole lots of World War II bombs and hid them all over the house.
All over the house? How many bombs are there?
I'm not sure. 15, I think.
15 bombs?
Look, the rental market is tough at the moment. If you want a flat in South London at an affordable price, you're going to have to put up with the odd bomb.
What if the bombs go off?
I've been told that the bombs will not go off unless you make a lot of extraneous noise in the same room, such as coughing or smashing up your super noodles.
Why didn't the previous owner take his bombs with him?
Because he's dead. He was killed by a bomb. That's why there's no roof either.
A bit of a weird ending to it, if I'm honest, but bombs, guys. Apparently, if they don't go off, they're alright. It's alright if you've got an old World War II bomb in your house, guys. As long as it doesn't go off, you'll be alright. You'll be alright. Jal's like, what was that? Yeah. That's heartless landlords, you know. It's like, cooker? Oh, you don't need a cooker. Here you go, I'll give you some noodles or something. Yeah, that's how crazy, like, some of the situation that some people are in. A lot worse as well, to be fair. But yeah, pretty nuts to say the least, guys. So speaking of crazy people, so you know how we always want to make sure that our MPs be doing more work. Obviously, we want them to really spend time with their constituents. Well, yeah, speaking of a certain MP who's not been spending a lot of time with his work, an exclusive from the Eye says, MPs like Nigel Farage should be forced to spend more time at work, a poll says. Voters want MPs to be forced to turn up to Parliament and at their constituencies following a number of rows over attendance, a poll has suggested. Now, like I say with all polls, guys, we have to take polls with a pinch of salt. I know I always feel I need to add that caveat whenever I cover or anything with polls. But I like this point that is here from the exclusive Eye, where it basically says they need to be forced to come to Parliament. They need to be forced to go to their constituents. I like that premise that the word force. They should be forced to do a certain amount. I think what it should be with MPs, that they should have to turn up a certain selective amount of times a month at Parliament, with the exception of if they're unwell, sick or whatever, or in a condition that they cannot attend Parliament. So say, for instance, the MP happens to be deeply unwell and is not able to make it to Parliament, for example. And only on the certain cases based on their health, they must attend Parliament a certain amount of days a month, and they must attend constituencies a certain amount of times a month as well. This should be enshrined in some kind of law, so that it forces them to respond and deal with constituency issues. And what it will also do is force MPs, obviously, like Nigel Farage, who at the moment has done bugger all for the people of Clacton, forces him to actually deal with constituency problems, because I don't know how many he has dealt with, but last I checked, he still hasn't responded to those constituencies issues that we last heard from callers before on LBC and other places. So I like this. I think this is a better premise, to force MPs to do a set amount of time, a set amount of dates, a set amount of times that they need to turn up at Parliament, and a set amount of times that they need to turn up at their constituency office a month. A certain amount of time. Like, obviously, they have other commitments, which is totally understandable. And I think that those commitments, obviously, the numbers could depend on how, depending on the size of their constituency. And it could also depend on whether they are, especially like if they're a cabinet person, someone who works for the government within the cabinet as well. So maybe sometimes they can't be as many times as they want to, and they're actually a bit less. So you have to obviously play other factors into it. But I do think there needs to be some kind of mechanism in that forces MPs to say, you know what, you need to attend. And maybe what they'll say is, I see you've not been around much. You know, you're just some lackey MP on the back benches, and you've not been to many debates, and you've not been to many constituency hearings. Yeah, we're going to dock your pay this month. You know, because you've been spending too much time, you know, working for a consultancy firm, or you've been sitting on the LBC radio, like Suella Braverman, trying to chat up people to win over voters that will never vote for you. You know, something like that. I think that would be a good idea here. So voters who want MPs to be forced to turn up to work in Parliament and in their constituencies follows a series of controversies about attendance, polls suggest. So following high-profile rows over the amount of times the likes of Reform leader Nigel Farage and ex-Cabinet Minister Nadine Dorries spend in the Commons or in their seats, an overwhelming majority, 77% of voters back a minimum attendance rule for MPs. Yes. The Savannah 38-degree survey shared exclusively with the Eye shared just 6% of the public would oppose such a move. Yeah, this is strongly 77%. That's a big percentage there. So there's a strong majority of people who definitely want something like this in place. Let me just have a see what you guys are saying in the chat about this. Farage was in the Parliament with 30p Lee and Richard Tice today. Was they Mad Monk? Interesting. Force Nigel Farage to work. Shouldn't elect him as an MP. He wanted it to be elected exactly not to do anything, says Jow. Genie Bottle says, I was once forced to rent a room with no window, painted black to cover up stains, just a mattress and a chest of drawers. The shared kitchen was brown, and so was the bathroom. I stayed 1 week. Absolutely disgusting. You should not have been forced to in such a disgusting and terrible conditions, Genie Bowl. I'm so sorry that you even had to stay there for a week. You just have to force MPs to attend, says Jow. Here they have to attend and justify all missing days in Parliament. We are paying their salaries, so they better work or they get the boot, says Jow. Yeah. It should be like that way. Ah, the Labour and Tory landlords. I have covered the Labour landlord in a video coming up. It's already available for members if anyone wants to see it. You see it after the live stream, not now. Yeah. Let's read a bit more into this. So the poll also saw voters backing a series of reforms to improve MPs' conduct after years of sleazy scandals, including banning MPs for deliberately lying in public, 79%, including a job description, 77%, banning MPs from betting on political outcomes, 77%, tightening restrictions on gifts, 75%, and banning specific second jobs, 70%. Like, all these things, like deliberately lying in public, we know that politicians are liars, so let's make it impossible for them to lie. Job description, banning MPs from betting on political outcomes. I mean, that's a pretty given there. Tightening restrictions on gifts, definitely another one that I'm sure everyone's in favour of. Banning specific second jobs. Yeah. I mean, all these things speak volumes. But despite Sir Keir Starmer's pledge to clean up politics and rebuild trust, more voters are more pessimistic, 38%, and then optimistic, 35%. The government will improve standards for MPs. The lack of belief in the Prime Minister's commitments will come after a string of cronyism allegations levelled at Labour over the filling of Whitehall jobs since the election. The lack of trust is also illustrated by the fact that nearly two-thirds, 65%, of voters believe that the current political system of MPs who behave unethically are likely to get away with it. This segment cuts across party lines with 74% of the 2024 Reform UK voters, 61% of Conservative voters, and 62% of Labour voters expressing the same concern. Matthew McGregor, the CEO of 38 Degrees, said, "These findings clearly show that the British public want and expects the highest possible standards from those who we give the duty and privilege of representing us in Parliament. Not only is this vital for democracy, it is essential if the new government wants the public to believe it is serious about rebuilding public trust in politics and preventing a return to Westminster scandals that have dominated over recent years. The overwhelming majority of MPs work really hard for their constituents. It's clear that the public is deeply frustrated with a system that is so weak in its ability to hold to account any MPs who acts unethically and neglects the people who puts them in a position of power. The public expects actions, not words. It's time for government to make good use on this promise to turn the page, restore faith in our democracy, and rebuild public trust." And just there, Savannah surveyed voters between 23 and 25th of August with a sample of 2,117 UK adults aged 18 or over. Data was weighed to be represented by the UK by age, sex, region, and social grades. Savannah is a member of the British Polling Council and abides by its rules. So I just wanted to put those caveats in there with regards to the polls. Like I always say, guys, take them with a pinch of salt. It's only over 2,000 people took part in it, but it is still 2,000 people that cast their votes. And the overwhelming majority want something done. And I would actually go as far to say, I would say a majority of people will want it. I think if you just literally went round and asked average people on the streets about, you know, do you approve of these ideas in the House for politicians, majority, I would say about 90% of people would say yes, they would want something done about this. Because they want something cleaned up in politics. Politics definitely needs cleaning up. Jeannie Bottle says that landlord had 38 plus properties. His brother and sister rented too. They rented TVs. They were taken from dump, fixed and sold far too much. They really exploited folk. Absolutely disgusting. Landlords have far too much power. Far too much power and influence, and more needs to be done to tackle it. I'm so sorry people have to go through that. I really do. Number 3 says, my first week at uni was spent in a steadily waterfront hotel. The light was always on, the sink was full of water, and the cockroach fell into one guy's soup from the ceiling. Fortunately, I could not pay. Why do people think it's okay to live in those conditions? I just don't know. Yeah, I just don't understand why people are being forced to in such conditions. Absolutely horrible. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about. I'm glad that someone's put a poll on this, but I kind of wish more would be done about it, if I'm honest. So I got 2 more articles for you guys. Just a reminder, guys, if you want to financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p. 99p may not sound like much, but it really does make a massive difference, and it really does help keep me going here on YouTube. And I want to say a massive thank you to everyone and anyone who has financially supported me in any way, whether it's been a super chat or gifted membership, or whether you've been a membership and you're no longer a membership. Any way, shape or form really does make a massive difference. If you do decide to become a YouTube member, you get access to custom emojis, which the guys here on the live streams get more than when they are members, they get free to use as well. And also, whenever you comment on any of my videos, you'll always get a response to me in the comments section whenever you are a member as well. If you also get access to the community memberships whenever membership community posts as well, whenever I drop some of them. Some of you guys seen some very nice pictures of a certain cat or two that's been popping up on their feed. You might be one dropping again tomorrow, possibly. And if you're a $2.99 member, which I extremely appreciate those who are giving $2.99 a month to financially support me in the work that I do, not only get all the perks that you get them, but you also get early access to my content. Content that I've recorded today is already available for you guys. So for those of you who are $2.99 members, you can see that content right now, simply going onto the membership tab, and you can check out all the early content before anybody else and give your thoughts on that before anybody else. So thank you to everyone who does that. If you can't, if you don't want to support me that way, the one other ways you could do so is by buying me a coffee. A link is in the description, or joining me on the Patreon as well. The Patreon link for that is in the description. You'll get access to early exclusive content on there by being a Patreon supporter as well. So thank you to everyone who has financially support me in any way, shape or form. But if you're somebody who can't financially support me and wants to have other ways of supporting me, one of the best ways to do that is hitting the like button, sharing across social media, watching videos a bit longer than normal, subscribing, leaving comments, all that kind of stuff really does make a massive difference. So thank you to everyone who has done so. It is greatly appreciated. So let's talk about Labour's 4-day week plan, guys. This is from The Independent. So Labour's 4-day week, how will it work and who can do it? It's all about compressed hours, as employees will have to work the same amount of the same amount of time. David Gerardo, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, so I want to talk a little bit about this. I haven't really covered this in the video, but I really want to talk about this 4-day week. Now, I have done like 60-hour shifts before. I've done 50+ hour shifts, and the natural time, the amount of hours that some people will do is, the average is basically 39 to 40 hours a week with most average workers. And you can do that kind of shift pattern within 4 days. 8 hours, 4 days, bang, 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 bang. That's literally 40 hours there. Rather than doing 5 days where you're working 6 hours, six hours or so. I'm someone who would rather work. I would rather work 8, 10, 12 hours rather than working 4 to 6 hours a day, if it meant me giving another day off. That's just me. Because also, obviously, the other thing as well is that, especially for people who have to pay to travel to get to their places as well, and if you're somebody who happens to work and only does like a 4-hour shift, a 3-hour shift or whatever, like, to me, and I've known people who have worked like 2-3 hour shifts at certain retails and whatnot, and to me, it's like, what's the point of you coming in, working a couple of hours and then going home? It's a complete waste of your time. It's a complete waste of travel time. It's just pointless. It's absolutely pointless. And you don't earn much money in doing so. And it makes so much logical sense for people to just go and work a solid 8 hours or whatever, do a long day. You know, you travel travel in the morning, go to work, you work the full 8, 10 hours, whatever it is. Then you come home, you've done your work after a long day. You know, this... I even think 6 hours sometimes is not. I get why some people get why some people need it for certain things and whatever, for the benefit of the companies and whatnot. But I think companies should be doing more to encourage 4-day week. I think it would be better for them, and it's also healthy. And if you have 3 days off instead of 2 days off, get more free time, and you don't have this added benefit as well. And I know this. If you're somebody who works late shifts, some of you people may have worked late shifts or known to work late shifts, right? One of the worst things you can have, right, if you wake up and your shift you don't leave the home until like late afternoon or whatever, or like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that, right? Your whole day is preparing yourself for work. Like you can't really relax and take it easy because you've got work later on. It's always in the back of your mind. It's always incumbent on you. And that sucks. That sucks mentally. It actually sucks mentally for you. At least if you're doing a morning shift, an early morning shift, and you finish at like 2 o'clock or whatever. Like, say, for instance, you're doing like a 6 a.m. shift and you're finishing at like 2 a.m. Because I have done 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. At least then, you don't have to worry about work because you literally have the rest of the day and you don't have to think about work. But I know it varies from people to people. But still, there are so many benefits to a 4-day week. It benefits the employer, benefits the company. There's far more positives than negatives to this. Far more positives. Let's read a bit more into this. So employers could get the right to a 4-day working week under new laws being considered by Labour as part of their package for workers. This will come in the form of compressed hours where an employee is allowed to work their regular hours over 4 days instead of 5, according to reports. Angela Rayner is understood to be spearheading Labour's plan for workers, consulting with trade unions and businesses ahead of new legislation expected in the autumn. So under the current rules, workers have the right to request flexible working, but employers aren't legally obliged to agree. The new law will see this change, with all employers needing to offer flexible working from day one, except where there is not reasonable fearsome. This means workers will be able to request that their employers allow them to undertake their normal working hours over a 4-day period. However, the policy is more likely to be beneficial to office workers and then those with regular hours. Employers in industries like hospitality or retail will be more likely to be able to argue that requests are not feasible. Like I said, the retail, it can vary. It depends on the store, the supermarket, the size of the store, the amount of employees that they have when there's certain trading hours and whatnot. There also you also have to take into account the factors of certain students can only work a certain amount of hours, or certain people as well. So there's a lot of factors to take place in this. Von Kaskenig, I hope I said your name right. Von, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good weekend. Thanks for popping in. There's lots of factors, obviously, when it comes to 4-day weeks. Yeah, and as somebody who does work in retail, I do want to see this kind of push more on retailers. I do want to see this push more on retailers because it will force them to give longer contracts. I don't like people being on 4-hour contracts. I don't like people being forced on 4 8-hour contracts. I want people to be given longer term contracts, like 20-hour, 30-hour contracts, something like that. I really do think that is beneficial, but I could also understand the argument for some retailers not always wanting it. I can't speak for other industries, but I can speak from someone who has worked in retail for 15 years. And I worked in a store. I worked in a store, and I remember I worked in a small store, and I had a budget. I had an hourly budget of like 120 hours between myself, my assistant manager, and 7 other staff that I had to manage. I had to calculate, not going over that budget, while also making sure that I had enough bodies to cover being able to trade 7 days a week within the trading hours that we ran. And it's not easy getting those calculations. It's not easy, but you can do it if you get it right. Education Miss Baroness Jackie Smith said of the reports that we think that... Oh my God. Sorry, give me 1 second, guys. I need to make sure the Twitch chat is still up and running. It's just so I can see it if anybody does pop up in there, guys. I know it's normally a ghost town in there, but it's still important to me. If profits came down, I'll just want to let me read this comment from Genie Bowl. If profits came down to better pay and less hours, then one job could be shifted to employer 2, equally paid, all taxpayers getting the same in work benefits. Great comment, Genie Bowl. Yeah, why not? Couldn't agree more. So the Education Minister, Baroness Jackie Smith, said in the reports, we think that flexible work is actually good for productivity. So the 4-day week that I know is on the front of quite a lot of newspapers today. So what we're actually talking about here is the type of flexibility working that enables you to use compressed hours. So Joe Wright, director of 4-day week campaign, said this is a welcome move from the government. We recognise that the future of work we are heading is for a 4-day week for all. However, these proposals not only allow workers to compress their working hours rather than reduce them, which we've found is key for improving work-life balance, but also maintaining productivity. The other thing as well, this is another thing that added as well, I think it's also a really key point, right? If you're someone who is a student, or if you're somebody who's doing side projects as well, you don't always have to spend, obviously, you're free to what you're doing when your time off is completely up to you. But if you're somebody who's still content with having 2 days off, you could use that third day for something else in your life. Something that can, maybe you want to progress towards a business, or perhaps, I don't know, being a YouTuber, or many other things. So that extra day in your life can make a massive difference. It doesn't always have to be a case of just being somebody just taking it easy and relaxing sort of thing. It's different for everyone. Compressing the same amount of hours into 4 days rather than 5 can be an important step on the road to a... God damn it, I do hate the Independent with these ads. Compressing the same amount of hours into 4 days rather than 5 can be an important first step on the road to a true 4-day week, but reducing overall working hours is critical. Ahead of the July election, the 4-day week campaign called on political parties to back a reduction of the maximum working week from 48 hours to 32 by the end of the decade with no loss of pay. Studies showed that the policy was popular among UK companies, with more than participated on the groundbreaking trial, making the policy permanent. The trial, the largest ever of its kind, tested a new wave of working in 61 companies, 54 of them, 89%, still operating the policy a year later. However, the Conservatives warned that the policy will negatively impact businesses and hit economic growth, even though the studies showed that's not to be the case. Kevin Hollerake, the Tory shadow business secretary, said, despite warning after warning from industry, Angela Rayner is pressing ahead with her French-style union laws that will make doing business more expensive in the UK. Again, that's not true. They're just trying to make people work more for no reason. Labour must listen to businesses who are petrified about one-day employment rights and bringing in a 4-day week through the back door. It will be businesses and consumers who pay and growth that suffer if they don't listen. They are listening, you dummy. However, ministers have insisted they have no plans to force businesses to accept the 4-day working week. Yeah, you can't make... I don't think you will... Excuse me. I don't think you want to make business, but you do want to impose something on them. A Department for Business and Trade spokesperson says our Make Work Pay is designed to around increasing productivity and creating the right conditions for businesses to support sustained economic growth. Many employers are already providing good, family-friendly conditions for their working because they know that they're doing so improves morale and retention. And we are working closely in close partnership with business and civil society to find a balance between improving workers' rights while supporting the brilliant businesses that pay people's wages. Labour's reported proposals come part of a new deal for working people, which promises a new slate of new rights for workers. These include banning exploitative zero-hour contracts, ending fire and rehire practices, and giving workers the right to switch off. And that's a big one there. The right to switch off, I think, is really, really important. If there's one thing I remember when I was high up in retail, I could not switch off from my work, even when I'm at home. I absolutely could not switch off. Even when I was just sitting there on my computer playing video games, I could not switch off from work. My phone was there. If it went off, I had to respond because that was the kind of thing that I had. And it's not right. It's not right that people cannot switch off from their work. It's not right. People should have the right to be able to switch off from their work and be able to just, enjoy life, because too much now, because of mobile phones, because of internet, it's too easy to be connected to work, and people need to have that step back sort of thing. I think I even covered this on a Speaking My Mind episode. That'll probably come over in the next couple of weeks for you guys as well. But yeah, 4-day week, I'm all in favour of it. I do think it's just something that needs to be pushed through. I really do think it's something that needs to be pushed through. Have a quick look at what you guys are saying in the comments before I go to the last article. See what you guys are saying. Compared with the productivity of French workers, the UK workers, and shut up Tories, says Joe. Yes. 30 says, it's not the hours that counts, it is the quality of the job. If your brain is smushed, then it negatives for the productivity and quality. Exactly. It's not about how many hours you do, it's what you do within that time. That's exactly what it is, 30, yeah? Yeah, whether you are working 4 hours, whether you are working 8 hours, it's about what you do within that time. And if you show that you are hardworking and you're keen, People who are hardworking and make a difference deserve to work. If you are hardworking and you are committed and you make an effort, people who work short hours and work hard and make an effort within that time frame deserve to have more opportunities and better pay for them. It's as simple as that. If you're not going to put in the effort, you should not be in the roles that you should be in. There's a lot of people I know in retail who do bugger all when it comes to their jobs, who are very, very lazy, who are earning a huge amount of money and taking it easy for themselves. Still to this day, I know there's people in retail like that. And it made me sick to my stomach, guys, because I would work my absolute arse off. I would come home and I would be absolutely shattered. More than 25,000 steps on my feet all day. And there are some people in retail who literally go into their store, who are literally store managers, go into their office and they hibernate in their office without doing bugger all work on their shop floors, getting other people to do work for them and whatnot. Extremely lazy-minded, yet racking in big salaries while making other people work. And I hate that. You know, for me, a leader is about setting an example. And when I was a leader, I always tried to set an example for everyone else by working hard and showing people my hard work. And it made other people work hard too. And that's how it should always be. Don't just tell other people to do something. Show them. Show them and you lead by example. It's just great leadership qualities. Work, rest, and play is now work, invest, and pay. With no rest, who can afford to play? Yeah, that's the problem. We need to give back. People need to give back that time. People need to have that time. Life is not always about work. Life is not always about work. Yeah, I had a manager just like that, says Von. Yeah, there's lots of people like that. Yeah, I despise those people, Von. I despise those people where they just think it's totally justified for them to take a package and simply sit in the office and tell other people what to do. Now, it's understandable that some people obviously need to sit in there and do office work, because there is office work that comes with certain jobs like that, but they don't need to be in there 24/7. There are cases where they need to be in there, but there are times where they should be on the shop floor. And I know some managers who barely appear on the shop floor. But I wasn't like that for periods that when I was a manager. Like, I had stuff to do in the office, but I made sure I made my presence felt on the shop floor every single day at least. No, because I really felt it was important to set an example. Yeah. But thanks for your comments, guys. Really appreciate it. Mad Monk says, the only thing to make a business in the UK more expensive is governance and Brexit. Yeah, Brexit. The gift that keeps on giving, isn't it, buddy? That just won't go away. It's called wanker capitalism, says Fred. Oh, God. Excuse me. Oh. I should really stop here, but I'm going to do this last article, guys. My voice has not gone yet, so we're going to do this last one, guys. And I want to talk about this nutter anyway, because... oh dear, what is wrong with this guy, guys? Someone explain this, go. Okay, so this is a piece from the Times here, guys. So voters worry about more than single-sex spaces, says Robert Jenrick. The leaked recording shows Tory leadership hopeful told young Conservatives that he doesn't want the party going down the rabbit hole of culture wars. Why does Robert Jenrick look like he's running for Congress? What is this? And I'm pretty sure it was Max who covered it in a video today. Like, he had a background of people behind him talking like he was at some kind of a political rally. Like a rally campaign or something. I'm just like, mate, what the fuck are you doing? You're not in America. I was like, who are you trying to appeal to? It's just like the most, like, it's just so stupid. It's so stupid. That's like, dude, this is not going to win people over. Like, this isn't America. This is the UK. We're not patriotism like on the level of America. Like, oh my days. Like, change, win, deliver. Well, you guys have not changed. That's the first thing. Winning is not something you're very good at because you lost the last general election. And delivering is something you guys are not very good at because you've not delivered a lot of things in the last several years. So I can't see many of those headlines doing very well for them. I mean, yeah. Let's read what the Times has to say, you guys. So, protecting single-sex spaces is not on the top of the agenda for 90% of people, Robert Jenrick has suggested, as he warned the Conservatives could not be a one-issue party if they want to win back votes. The Tory leadership contender told at an event for young Conservatives that he did not want his party to go down a rabbit hole of culture wars, as he said the public were more worried about the cost of living crisis and public service than gender issues. Yes, this is 100% true. Yeah. You know, they talk about the issues that people are facing, and you will win over hearts and minds. You know, stop this nonsense of culture wars. Like, people don't want to hear about culture wars. People want to know how you as a politician are going to improve their lives, because that's the whole reason why you were elected as a politician. What are you going to do to make my life better? It's pretty simple question. It's a simple question, but as a politician, you've got to figure out the answer, and not just say, "Well, we're going to deal with the trans issues that we have with women going into bathrooms and all that." And I'll be like, "How's that going to fix my cost of living crisis? How's that going to help with my energy bills exactly?" Yeah, but if we go blah 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 blah, we're not really interested in that. It is a freaking toilet. You can do two things with it even simultaneously, says Verti. Yes, you can, Verti. Yes, you can. Jenrick, who was addressing an online meeting of young Conservative members of the Blue Beyond group on August the 19th, said it was an issue that he personally worried about what wanted to win back voters, especially from Liberal Democrats. The Tories need to be full spectrum party. Liberal Democrats, I could definitely see them winning them back, because Lib Dems at the moment, not hearing a lot from them. But then again, I can't say too much, because obviously, again, like, everyone's been on holiday as well. His comments come as two more Tory leadership hopefuls are set to officially launch their campaigns today. Yeah, this article was on Sunday. You know, we don't need to read all that because we've just talked about them. Jenrick, the former immigration minister, held a campaign event in central London last Sunday. He vowed to oppose Rachel Reeves' war on the middle classes as she prepared to deliver her first budget next month. He promised to create a new Conservative party, vowing he would deport small boat migrants within hours, cut taxes and shrink the size of the state if he led the Tories back into power. How is he going to deport small boat migrants exactly? Or what exactly is he going to do? Addressing supporters with some wearing "We Want Bobby J" baseball caps. I didn't see that in the video that Max was sharing, but were they really wearing those caps? We will shortly drawn on our Prime Minister that the highest earning pips have already been squeezed. So the next target is you. The next target will be tax raise on working families. The next target should be the rich and the wealthy. That's who it should be. According to a recorded leak to the Times, Jenrick said, "I don't want the Conservative Party to be just a one-issue party or just to go down our rabbit hole culture wars, as I'm concerned as the next person about what my kids are being taught in schools and how we're approaching sensitive issues like space for women and trans. But it's not what 90% of the public are thinking about. Most of the time, people are concerned about the cost of living, housing, public service, immigration, and I want to be spending most of that time on those things. If we can do that, I think we can win back those Lib Dem voters." It's understood that Jenrick is personally concerned about the issue, especially what he's taught in schools, and considers himself to be hardline on debate. But he believes that the main thrust of the Conservative offers need to be on the core issues as demonstrated by polls. Helen Joyce, Director of Advocacy for Sex Matters, the campaign group for sex-based rights, says, "Of course voters are concerned about urgent everyday problems, but it's a mistake for politicians and any party to imagine that it's a matter of one or the other. Attempting to ignore the harms caused by gender ideology will solve nothing. Indeed, the only worsening conflict over women's rights and children's safeguarding." She said that the group's polling showed that voters expect politicians to uphold and strengthen laws that exist to provide women with safety, privacy, dignity, and fair competition. Like, you go into the bathroom to do your business. That's it. I'm just going to put that out there. Billy Kershaw, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. She added, they also want to make sure that schools are safeguarding children, not indoctrinating them or encouraging mental and physical ill health. Tories' manifesto pledges on sex and gender were popular with voters across the political spectrum, including the Lib Dem supporters Robert Jenrick says he hopes to attract. Well, obviously, they really showed that at the general election, didn't they? Really showed that. Yeah, really showed that. Badenoch will pledge to focus on renewals. She becomes party leader. She expects to hit out Labour and say they have no ideas. They're better at renewing plans. Yep. Yep, we've already read all that, obviously. And the 6 candidates, obviously, we've already said as well. Yeah, it's just regurgitating things that we just read earlier, guys. But, yeah, I mean, I just look at this picture and I'm just like, what on earth is this guy? I really hope he doesn't become Conservative leader. I don't think he will. But a lot of people have always said, and a lot of people have said, and I kind of have this feeling too, that whoever does become the next Conservative leader, it's just not going to... Are they really going to win back people at the next general election in several years' time? There's still a lot of time between now and then, obviously. A lot can happen. I know it may seem folly, but it is entirely possible for the Conservatives to win back power at the next general election. It's not impossible. You know, remember before Labour came into power, when Keir Starmer came into power, became leader of the Labour Party, no one batted an eyelid expecting Labour to win in 2024, but they did. Back then, nobody expected them to win the general election, but there you go. So people's minds can change. But one thing that the Conservatives have, and the right wing so-called, and the right wingers always have, is their media backers. They will always have the media backers. And it's down to us to obviously call out the hypocrisy and whatnot of what these Conservatives say, because they left the country in an absolute bloody mess. They left the UK as a whole in an absolute mess. And yes, we do want Labour to fix things. And I am hopeful that they get some things done. And I am far more optimistic about Labour than I am with a Conservative, especially after 14 years. That speaks for itself. But I just don't think Robert Jenrick is somebody who's right. I personally think Priti Patel is going to be the next Conservative leader. Even though she's not the favourite, I still think she's the one who can be. And it's good to see you there. I hope you're doing well. But we will have to wait and see, guys, on that. Let me see what you guys are saying in the comments. Verti says the problem are these perverts and the ways who are too interested about people going to the toilets. They want to hang around and take watch, says Verti. No comment on that. Genie Bottle says, I have used in France unisex. It was in the 1990s. Yep, who cares? You're there to do your business. Like, who cares? The bathroom of the Barara Cafe goes to has a door. I enter, close the door, leave it clean, and found it no company. So, yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're just making culture wars out of nothing is what they do. Jao also says unisex bathrooms have become more common in a practical way to solve these issues. The way everyone can be comfortable using public bathrooms. Yeah, and it's also it's cost effective. It's cost savings as well for many places. Because some places it costs a fortune to have a men's and a women's one. Just have one for everyone. You know, it's better for some places, obviously, that cafes and whatnot, to have two separate. It's just better to have one. It's just cheaper. So, culture wars, end opera, make them sing English, says Genie Bottle. Yeah, make them sing English. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, that's for sure. He should work as a food delivery guy. He can deliver and give people the change. Win-win, says Steve. yeah, probably can as well, guys. So, guys, I got a funny video for you just before we see ourselves out. But just before we do, guys, I'm just going to remind you guys, I'm not going to do a live stream tomorrow just because I'm a little bit conscious of my voice. But I will be covering Prime Minister's questions tomorrow at 12 o'clock. So if you guys have got nothing else and you want to come and hang out and watch Prime Minister's questions, the first one back since the holidays between Keir Starmer and Rishi Sunak, and hear what he said in there, please feel free to come and join me for that. I'll also be back later that Wednesday evening for the Snowflake Watch, which is obviously will be very fascinating to see what happens with the Conservative leadership contest. So we expect it to go from 6 to 4, so that will be interesting as well. I'm supposed to have. I just want to put one more thing. I just need to confirm that we are definitely still having Snowflake talks this Thursday. It's supposed to be myself and Van Man talks. I just need to double check with him. He's still all good for it. to confirm for him. It should still be fine. We should still be having that talk. But even if not, guys, just to remind you guys, next week I have Terry Regan, who is the Plymouth activist. You guys have seen him around the chat. I'll be having a chat with him. And also I'll be having one with Jenny, Random Scottish History, later this month as well, which will be very exciting to do. I am trying to get one more guest on this month as well. Hopefully I'll get one soon for you guys. So I just wanted to let you guys know those plans. So I hope you guys enjoy this funny video I've got for you guys before we head out. It is a couple of weeks old, but it's still a funny one nonetheless, guys, to give some laughters anyway. So I hope you guys enjoy this funny one here. This is from Matt Green. It's a British reporter at the DNC. I hope you guys enjoy this from Matt Green. Absolutely top stuff as always from him.
As the Westminster recess continues, all eyes have been on the Democratic National Convention. Our tearjerkers, barn busters and red, white and blue balloons correspondent Jonathan Goodenough has more. Yes, that's right, I'm here at the DNC, organised by the DCCC, which this year isn't in NYC or LA, but in CHI, cargo. Okay? Also known as the Windy City, and not just because last night I had burritos. So what have you picked up so far? Excitement, joy, possibly COVID, hopefully not Mpox. What's so exciting about it? Well, it's just so American, isn't it? The razzmatazz, the sense of occasion. This isn't a boring old party conference in sleepy old Bournemouth. This is Hollywood smiles and stars and stripes in the city where they filmed The Bear. Who have you spoken to? Most of the key players aren't really interested in talking to the British press, but I did speak to a few delegates who thought I was with the BBC and a lot of the protesters outside. Yes, there were some suggestions that this could be a repeat of the chaotic 1968 convention. Yeah, wouldn't that be great? The riots at home were so depressing. Over here, they'd be exciting. Sounds like you're enjoying yourself. I'm having such a great time. I've eaten cheesesteaks and hot dogs and a bucket of cola, and that was just for breakfast. So how does this all affect us in the UK? Who cares? I've been covering the general election and the riots, and I think I deserve a break. Everything's so big here. But surely the choice between Harris and Trump is important for the whole world. Did I mention they had Oprah and Lil Jon? And I think I saw President Bartlett earlier. Martin Sheen. He's here too. The politicians here are just so much more exciting. I mean, AOC. Can you think of a British politician who's just known by their initials? Ian Duncan Smith? I rest my case. So it's been a big success for the Democrats. Well, the energy and the momentum have been pretty sky high, but that doesn't mean the race is over. In fact, the polls are saying it's still very tight. So Trump still has a chance of winning. More than a chance, which would of course be great news for us. The UK? No, the media. Every time he says something awful, our ratings go up. Long may it continue. I'm not really sure you can say that. I'm in America. I can say what I like. Well, I mean, I can do what I like. I could even get a gun. Jonathan? Actually, I probably shouldn't have said that here. There are some men with dark suits coming towards me. Thank you, Jonathan. Don't shoot, I'm British. Next up, as it's revealed that the new CEO of Starbucks will have a 1,000-mile commute in a private plane, we ask, how carefully are you rinsing your coffee cups before you put them in recycling?
Matt Green, everyone, make sure you check out his YouTube channel, Matt Green Comedy, guys. Link for the funny videos are in the description under funny videos. Make sure you do that as well, guys. Absolutely great stuff. There. Guys, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's come along. Thank you guys so much for your number 3 for the gifted memberships. That was much needed. I needed that boost, and thank you for those who gifted for super chats who gave them as well. Much appreciated the support, guys. It has been, last couple of weeks financially on the channel has been a major hit. So to start off the week, with today's been a major boost. Thank you guys for everyone who's come in. Really do appreciate it. Like I said, I'll be back on Wednesday. There'll be no live stream tomorrow, no premiere tomorrow. I'm just kind of trying to slowly steady myself back into a routine. I don't know if I will do a full 5-week live stream again. I don't know if I'm going to be bringing back Snowflake Corner, because normally when I do, guys, it doesn't, while I do get some views, I don't get anything out of it, if I'm honest. But I'm going to bring it back. I'll try and bring it back at some point, but we'll see. But yeah, I'll be back on Wednesday, guys. I've got 2 live streams that day, so do come in and hang out with me as well, guys. But whatever you guys are doing, have a great month. We're in the new month of September. Take care, look after yourselves, all the usual stuff, guys. Just going to say the gang wants to say goodbye as well. Yes, the gang here. So for those who don't know, Ollie is the octopus who hangs out. This is the gang that watches over the channel, for those who don't know. Pingu there is the penguin. He is apparently a communist Chinese Russian spy, allegedly. And hiding behind him is Cash Dummy, who is the Cookie Monster there as well. And you, just a reminder for members, obviously you get emojis of all these guys. They are always behind me. They are always lurking. They are always watching over the channel, guys. But just before I go, guys, just want to say one final thing. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. It'd be greatly appreciated. Share this across social media so others are notified of this live stream. And if you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, you could do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.